friends, welcome to a new video. Look, today we're gonna have fun here on the channel building new dinosaur figures. As you can see, we already have some assembled here, which we've seen in previous videos. For example, here we have a Piroraptor. You know, I love these little figures because we can assemble and take them apart as often as we like. They're also articulated, so they can move both their back legs and their front legs. And what I like the most is that the carnivorous ones can open and close their jaws. This time we have a specimen of Piroraptor, characterized by having feathers all over its body, but especially on the back of its head and on its tail, where the feathers were very long and very thick. As you can see, it also had one of its fingers, shaped like a hook. I love it, friends. We also have two much more impressive figures. They are the figures of the Carnotaurus and the great Tyrannosaurus Rex. The best part is that we're also going to use the book on dinosaurs and other prehistoric animals in the video to discover a lot of interesting information about all of them. And now, let's start with the first one. As you can see, we have a lot of pieces. And the best part is that this dinosaur comes with a special effect. As you can see, its skin is completely transparent with some striped details. Let's see, over here I can see part of its head. I think it's a Triceratops. Let's take it out to see it better. There are a lot of pieces and I love the effect it has. Here we see its crown-shaped skull. And somewhere we should have its three horns. Here we have one of them, one of the ones from the top. Well, let's put it together. To start, we'll use the central part of its body as a reference. As you can see, it comes with these details that run along the entire top part. And the first thing we're going to do is place its skull. I already have the head assembled with the horns attached. Look how cool it is, friends. As you know, the upper horns will be much bigger than the third horn located on the top of its nose. We just need to fit the pieces together. We already have the head in place. Also, we can turn it from side to side. It's time to put its legs on. We need to make sure we put the bigger legs at the back, and the smaller legs will go at the front. As you can see, it's super easy to assemble and a lot of fun. We're almost done with it. And now we have this great Triceratops. This dinosaur lived on planet Earth during the Cretaceous period more than 65 million years ago. Also, like other herbivorous dinosaurs, it had a strong beak at the tip of its mouth that it used to dig in the ground and search for food. I have to admit that I love this figure, especially because of the transparent effect it has. Super cool! We'll leave it here and continue with a different one. Let's see. This one comes in gray with some details in other colors. I think it's another herbivorous dinosaur. I'm not sure. We won't know for sure until we put it together. We need to be careful so that we don't lose any pieces. For now, the first thing I notice is that its tail is quite long and thin. Let's put its head on now. As you can see, its neck was somewhat long, and we already know that it's a herbivorous dinosaur because it had a strong beak, something characteristic of herbivores. Also, we can see that it had some feathers around its neck. Now let's start placing its hind legs and front legs. It was a bipedal dinosaur that walked on its hind legs. However, we can already see that the front legs were quite long. Now we have it completely finished. This dinosaur is called Gallimimus. It was about 2 meters tall and could measure up to 6 meters from the tip of its mouth to the end of its tail in some specimens. Let's see which dinosaur we need to assemble next. Look, in this little bag, we can see that this specimen comes in a completely dark color. It's probably a carnivorous dinosaur.
Let's check which one it is.
Let's see. Here we can see part of its jaw, especially the upper teeth. Let's put it together. We use the central part of its body, and we can already see that all its skin is black, but it has a yellow stripe that runs along its side all the way to the end of its tail. That already tells us that this is the great Indoraptor. It was a carnivorous dinosaur that appears in the Jurassic Park movie. Also, friends, I'm sure you all know it. But it wasn't a dinosaur that actually existed. It's a fictional dinosaur that appears in the movies. And it was created in a laboratory using the combined DNA of other carnivorous dinosaurs. This way, they managed to make a dinosaur that was much more intelligent and also much more aggressive. Look, as you can see, it had a strong jaw full of sharp teeth. It also comes with some red accents. It looks like it has fought some kind of battle against another dinosaur. I love it because we can see all the sharp teeth. It was large in size, and as you can see, it was also bipedal. However, it used its front legs to help it eat, mainly to grab meat and bring it to its mouth. Super cool and above all very terrifying. Let's see which one is next. Look, I can see this dinosaur's head. As you can see, it has 2 horns. So we already know that it's a big Carnotaurus. Let's assemble it, and now we'll see it with this other gigantic specimen. A Carnotaurus that we assembled in a previous video. Let's start assembling it from the head. We still need to put on the lower jaw. We'll add it at the end. Now let's attach the hind legs. The Carnotaurus got its name because, due to its horns, it looked a lot like modern bulls. It was also a carnivorous dinosaur that could reach about 6 meters in length. Another interesting feature is that it had flattened sides on its skull. This way, it could lighten the weight of its head. It's time to place the lower jaw. It also had a very peculiar head shape because even when it closed its jaw, the teeth of the upper jaw were always exposed. On the left side of our book, we have information about the great Carnotaurus. It tells us that it lived during the late Cretaceous period, and its name means carnivorous bull. Also, in this paragraph, it specifies that its entire body was completely covered with tough scales that protected it. It lived in the area of Argentina. We have it marked right here on our map. That's where fossil remains of this type of carnivorous dinosaur have been found. And we keep discovering new specimens. And look, this time we have a long-necked dinosaur. You already know that among the herbivores, the long-necked ones are my favorites. The Brachiosaurus is a type of herbivorous dinosaur that lived on planet Earth during the Jurassic period. It was a giant among giants. It could reach over 20 meters in length. Impressive, isn't it? Its body was so big that it could eat tons of food every day. Also, it loved eating the leaves from the tops of the trees. A curious feature is that its front legs were slightly bigger than its back legs. This was because they had to support the weight of that long neck. As you can see, its head wasn't very big, and its jaw was quite small since it didn't have large sharp teeth like the big carnivores did. Let's continue with another one. Let's see. It looks like we have another carnivore. I think it's a Velociraptor. Velociraptors are a type of carnivorous dinosaur that I really like a lot. They were known for not being very large. However, they were able to capture big prey. Let's start by putting on its hind legs. As you know, it was a bipedal dinosaur. Also, look, one of its claws was shaped like a hook. We can see this on its 2 hind legs. Its front legs, although they were much thinner, were actually quite long. It used them to help itself when eating meat. As I was telling you, they were able to catch large prey, and that's because they hunted in groups or packs. Therefore, a single Velociraptor wasn't able to eat too much. But if they all joined forces, they would rush toward the big dinosaur and capture it. And, as I mentioned before, Velociraptors, even though they weren't very big, were able to capture large prey because they hunted in groups or packs. Here we can see its jaw. Even though its teeth weren't very big, they were very sharp. They could reach about 2 meters in length and had a rather long tail, which they used to change direction. Also, another interesting fact about Velociraptors is that although they've never been depicted this way, in reality, according to experts, they actually had feathers all over their bodies. A very interesting fact. We'll leave it here for now. Why? Because we still have a lot of dinosaurs left to discover. Look, this one has a golden finish. And we're seeing a big jaw, so I think it's a big Tyrannosaurus Rex. The Tyrannosaurus Rex is one of the largest predators that has ever existed on planet Earth. Its jaw alone had 60 sharp teeth. It was a bipedal dinosaur that walked on its strong hind legs. However, its front legs were very small compared to the rest of its body. I love this little figure because it has golden coloring. Super cool! Let's put the one we have left. It could reach about 12 meters in length and lived on planet Earth during the Cretaceous period. The largest teeth it had could reach 20 centimeters, and just its head alone measured more than 1.5 meters. Many fossil remains of the T-Rex have been found throughout history, which has allowed us to learn a lot of information about it. Let's see which one is next. Ah, and look! It's another large carnivore. Let's take it out. I'm sure many of you already know what kind of dinosaur this is. There's a clue in the movie Jurassic World. The Indominus Rex is another type of fictional dinosaur. It's mainly characterized by the color of its skin. It was created by modifying and combining the DNA of several carnivorous dinosaurs, making a new specimen that is much more intelligent and terrifying. Look, as you can see, it was very large and had a big jaw. Its body was super cool since its skin tone really caught a lot of attention. As you can see, earlier we also assembled another fictional dinosaur. We see some differences between them, but above all, the most distinctive thing is their colors. The Indoraptor was black while the Indominus Rex was white. Two very strong and fierce dinosaurs, much more than the great Tyrannosaurus Rex. And now we just have the last dinosaur left to assemble. Let's see. I see a crest over here. What a strange dinosaur, friends! We see a crest on its back, but also on the top of its head. Honestly, that has already confused me quite a bit. Let's see what kind of specimen it is. I've already assembled it, and I have to admit, friends, that I'm completely baffled. It's the first time I've seen this type of dinosaur. I don't know if it really existed or if they've given us a mutant dinosaur in this figure. Let's take a look at its features. As you can see, it has a crest very similar to that of the Spinosaurus. However, it also has a horn on the back of its head that really reminds me of the great Parasaurolophus, a type of herbivorous dinosaur. We also see two crests on the top of its head that are very similar to those of a rooster, just like with the Dilophosaurus. It also has a small horn on the top of its nose. What do you think? It's a combination of a lot of different types of dinosaurs. So I really don't know if this dinosaur actually existed or if it's fictional. What do you think, friends? Also, the shape of its body is very similar to the Velociraptors we've seen because of the shape of its head, its jaw, and especially its long tail. I definitely think it's a mutant dinosaur. And we're done with today's video. Here, we have all the dinosaurs we've managed to create today. As you can see, we've ended up with both herbivorous and carnivorous dinosaurs. And over here, we even have a dinosaur that, as I mentioned, I think is a mutant dinosaur. It's a combination of a bunch of different types of dinosaurs. If you enjoyed today's video, you can help me out by giving me a a thumbs up. And I invite you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. And now it's time for me to say goodbye. See you in the next video with more fun surprises. Bye!